Hey, how's it going? My name's Matthew, aka EZBOT, and we're back with another live stream. Today we're going to take a look at pairing the Dirtywave M8 Tracker with the Elektron Octatrack, in particular using some of my performance templates with the M8 Tracker. Starting with the hybrid template. If you're not familiar with either the Dirtywave M8 Tracker or the Elektron Octatrack, let me briefly tell you what both of these devices are and explain to you why this combination is so awesome before I go in depth into the demonstration of using them together and how you would do that, including routing, MIDI, and why the performance templates that I use work so well with the M8, and how you might want to have them set up or interact with each other. So let's dive into that right away. Today's stream is sponsored by Modbang, which is my company, so I paid myself nothing to say that. All right, let's dive into it. So on the table, we have the Octatrack, which is an 8-track sampler, effects processor, DJ effects processor, MIDI sequencer, Groovebox. I mean, it's just incredible. It does everything. It's a little like, in terms of the DSP, mildly outdated. There's a lot of stuff nowadays that has, more powerful CPUs inside of it, but nothing is as powerful as the ideas that are inside the Octatrack. The Octatrack conceptually is a more powerful device than almost anything available other than like your computer. It just lets you get as creative as your personal potential will allow. This thing will give you all the avenues to make any kind of music that you want to make or do multiple different concepts. And that's kind of what we're going to do today. We're not going to make music on the Octatrack. We're going to use it in one of my personal favorite ways to use it, which is as a performance mixer using these performance templates that I designed. In fact, I have an overlay for it that explains all of the effects, which I'll grab in just a little bit. Right now, we're just looking at the blank Octatrack. Now, here is the Dirtywave M8 Tracker. We have two of them on the table here. And the Dirtywave M8 Tracker is, as the name implies, a tracker. And trackers are extremely powerful. In fact, the tracker, this tracker, and other trackers are some of my favorite devices to make music with. And I've said this many times before, the Elektron workflow, so very similar to a tracker workflow. If you like Elektron, you're going to like the M8. You're going to like the Polyend Tracker. You're going to like LSDJ. You're going to like the Nerd Sequencer. All that stuff is going to just kind of naturally work for you if you're familiar with these devices. So you'd really like this, and you would like something like the Polyend Tracker and the Polyend Tracker Mini, which just got updated with 2.0 firmware, which I'm excited to take a look at myself. Now, right now, what I have going on is the M8 Tracker is sending its audio into my Octatrack. It sounds like this. Sounds awesome. I love the tracker. That audio is being processed into my Octatrack. So with my Octatrack, using different performance effects that I've designed myself, currently I have 64 designed in this particular project file, which you can pick up on coffee.com or patreon.com/EZBOT if you'd like. It's a lot of fun to play with, and I guarantee you'll have fun with it. It's just a 100% guarantee that you're going to have a good time with it. It's just that easy. Currently, I have the M8 sending MIDI clock and transport to my Octatrack, which is not something I typically do. I often use the Octatrack as my clock source, and there's a couple reasons why you would do that, but one reason why I'm sending clock from the M8 is just because it's easier to jump from project to project to project to project in the M8 while still getting performance effects from the Octatrack and sending different clock signals, different BPM values from the M8 directly instead of receiving from the Octatrack. Whereas if it was receiving from the Octatrack, I would have to have a piece of paper that wrote down what BPM I want to be playing at and then adjust the BPM that way. Now there's some advantages to doing that too, which has to do with some of the clocking stuff and freeze delays, but ultimately this is going to be the easiest to do. You just plug your MIDI cable into your M8. I use these RK TRSX little dongles, plugged it into my Octatrack. and I have transport send and clock send coming from the M8. And I'll show that to you really quick, just so you know exactly what I'm talking about here. Here we're in the M8. I'm going to jump over to my project settings. You go to settings, you make sure it says send sync and send transport, and you're good to go. As soon as you have that set up, you can go back over to the Octatrack and have the Octatrack's MIDI settings like this, which will be transport receive, clock receive, and that's it. And you, in fact, what's going to happen is you're just going to sit in the same pattern on your Octatrack the whole time that you play with the M8 or the Polyend Tracker Mini. This is going to work with any tracker. I know I'm using the M8 right now, and the M8 is one of my main tools that I use, but if you're just a tracker user and using hardware trackers in general, this is going to work for you as well. So give any tracker superpowers, as the thumbnail implies. Now let me show you a little bit about these. Let me just give you a little demonstration of the superpowers right now. So I'm going to load up a different track in my M8, and I'm going to have to make sure that the MIDI settings are going to that one as well. Here's like a drum and bass track that I've been working on. It's in sync, it's in transport. Got my Octatrack started when I press play. I'm going to go over to the party section in this performance template. This is the hybrid performance template. And the reason I'm using it is because it just sums all the audio that you put into it. So if you had a lot of instruments paired with your tracker, whether it be a Polyend tracker, the M8 tracker, it would just sum right into the Octatrack and you get the same effects that way, instead of having them split into dual buses. So here's some effects. Like a beat repeat. Right now I have a 4-bar template in here, so it cycles every 4 bars. So you want to time things across 4 bars. I thought 4 bars might be more useful with the M8, especially with this faster music that I'm writing. So the turnarounds are quicker. Now, all of my performance templates that I have for the Octatrack, they have some key features to them that make them very useful with any device and any style of music. All the parts are curated to different vibes, different energy levels, and you can use them for different genres of music. All the templates have loopers in them, so you can record a loop and use it to transition from song to song. Really useful with the M8. So if I want, we could queue up a recording. Let's get over here. I doubled the time. All right, one thing I need to fix really quick because I was messing with this a bit. So something to keep in mind, and this is an Octatrack thing. So let's talk about the Octatrack for 1 second. I was just wanted to give you a sound demonstration of the different things you could do here and just see how it effortlessly syncs. We just ran the audio from your M8 into your Octatrack. If you own an Octatrack Mark 1 or Mark 2, you can download my performance templates from patreon.com/EZBOT and just throw a MIDI cable in between the two and bam, this will just work for you. And I do want to get put an overlay on here really quick, so just bear with me while I snag one of those. All right, back in action. I also have these magnetic overlays that go on your Octatrack that tell you what effects are in what part. So just put it on your Octatrack. It literally locks onto your Octatrack because it's a magnet. It's so cool. And these are in stock at modbang.com. So you can do this whole thing and just like make this great performance center. You know, I've spent countless hours, a couple of years working on this stuff. And it works. It works really well. I play shows with it all the time. So we did some sound demonstrations. I do want to point out one thing. We are doing drum and bass here on the M8. Like that was, you know, it's 174 BPM for this track. The Octatrack does have one issue with Octatrack is it does have a recording issue. Its auto BPM detection doesn't work past 160 BPM. So what it will do is it'll count the BPM correctly, but then it'll half the BPM with the it'll half the BPM in its audio editor, basically. So it'll play the file twice as fast. So as long as it's only with 8-bar loops though. So if you record only a 4-bar loop, it's not a problem. I recorded an 8-bar loop, so that's why it was playing at double time. But you just need to keep that in mind. You only want to record 4 bars. So all you do to change that is go into your recording setup on track 4 if you're using the hybrid template, which is what we're using for this demonstration, and change your max record length to 4 bars, 64 steps, and that will solve the issue. It just means that your loops are going to be 4 bars long, which I think is just fine when it comes to like drum and bass. So let's give an example of that. Let's queue up a recording. Get a recording going, look at that. This is that recording right there. It was playing the end of the last recording. There you go. So now it's looping this intro part. We could queue up another recording if we want. I guess we want to have this be only. Here's that recording. Out of the recording. It's pretty sick to be able to just grab a loop like that, transition over to the loop. We can do it again. Grab a piece of this arpeggiated section. I started just recording. It'll just end in a second. There we go. So this is that live loop. Okay, this is really great for moving to a new project. So if we wanted, we could leave this project or just scoot down to a different row on the M8, which we can queue up by going. Yeah, that's it. That's it. And now we're out of that into a new part of the song. Super easy, super fun. Like, it's an incredible amount of fun. And I am designing, somebody mentioned in the comments here, this is a live stream, this is not a video. You know, I mean, it's clearly video, of course, but you know what I mean? Like, this isn't an edited thing. We're doing this live right now, so there's going to be a lot of talking, silences, stuff like that. Bear with me. Let's jump over to the chat really quick, and I'll say hello to everybody. What's going down? Hi from Corsica. But first, an ad from Mr. Obama. Right? I get text messages from Biden all the time. It's like, hey, what's up? It's me, Joe. I'm like, what? I don't know you. Another sign of Joe's wavering consciousness. Very excited to see what you've come up with. Thanks, Fox. Sounds awesome. USB disconnected sound. Yes, this is USB disconnected sound. This is not coming over USB. It's coming from the M8. It is passing through some ground loop isolators, or a ground loop isolator, which is then going into the Octatrack, which is then going into a Digitact, into the Octatrack, into an analog heat, into an SSL6, and then into my computer, and then to you. So that is the signal chain that we're actually listening to. I think it sounds awesome. The M8 sounds great. It's got the limiter on it, works really well. Matt, will you be making an M8 specific template? So let's talk about that for a second. Yes, I am making an M8 specific template. Timeline for that is probably a ways out. Maybe before I play the show at Substation. I'm playing a show with a bunch of M8 users. It's like a dance / chiptune show, because I'm not much of a chiptune writer. I'm more of a dance electronica writer, but I'm going to be playing with the M8 and this gear at the Substation with a lot of great artists, but also with Trash 80, the creator of the M8. So that's going to be really exciting for me. I'm so grateful and thankful they invited me to do that and perform at this show. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will be hopefully using the new M8 template that I designed. And the new M8 template, I think I'm going to maybe not have a looper in it. I actually have a whole new concept for designing templates on the Octatrack that I'm excited to dive into, which has to do with using two buses, but the two buses being summing buses, and the having just like really vastly different effects on both parts. This is really hard for me to explain without you really understanding the Octatrack, but essentially what it will give me access to is having effects like a high-pass filter that runs into a beat repeat that gets high-pass filtered, that runs into a freeze delay again, that gets into a reverb that gets sidechained, and then I can switch to another effect immediately and go over to something with a chorus and a flanger with a low pass filter. Like all of that existing in the same part is something that I'm working on. And it's going to be a big project, and it's going to be sick when it's out. And that's going to be the M8 or the tracker template. I'm going to call it, it's going to be for the trackers. It's going to be a tracker thing. So I want it to be for Polyend people and for M8 people. It'll be for anybody, of course, any sort of machine you want, but I'm designing it for the tracker folk in particular. New Mini 2.0 synths are very good, but the M8 is on a completely different level. The difference between, I'd say, like the Polyend tracker stuff and the M8 is the workflow, like as in how you're actually working with the devices. The larger M8 or the larger Polyend Tracker Plus is a great device, and I really enjoy the workflow. The Mini was a little harder for me to grasp, as I was very used to the M8 Tracker. The synthesizers on it are phenomenal. They're a league above. They're some of the best synthesizers to be integrated into a Groovebox, in my opinion, because they're new and they sound really good. So I'm really pleased. Polyend knocked it out of the park. George, glad to be here. I'm glad you made it. Getting your Digitech 2 tomorrow. Congratulations. You're going to absolutely love it. What's up from Germany? Hello. Can you talk a bit about ground loop isolators? I've always seemed to get computer noise. We'll briefly chat about a ground loop isolator, and then we're going to move back into talking about how we use the M8 tracker with the Octatrack. So a ground loop isolator essentially breaks a voltage loop that's happening, or a current loop, not voltage, but a current loop inside your electronics. So it's looping inside the electronics. You put a ground loop isolator, and it has a means to end that current loop, and that will prevent that oscillating buzzing sound. That's what you want to do. So you could be having sounds coming from some sort of current loop that's happening post your computer or post your interface into your speakers. Your speakers could be not RF protected, so they might even pick up cell phone sounds, or they might even be picking up your monitors or computer nearby. That can be a source of bad sounds. You want to get speakers that have protection from outside audio, electrical current stuff, or outside signals like cell phones and stuff like that. Sorry, that wasn't eloquent, but I think I got my point across. And then you also may want to get ground loop isolators for literally anything that is powered by USB. USB powered devices are notorious for creating ground loop issues. So consider that. I have to use a ground loop isolator right now with the M8 because I have this. Because I'm showing you the M8 screen. If I wasn't using the M8 screen right now, I wouldn't be using a ground loop isolator. I wouldn't need it because it would be on battery power. But because I'm running this in and it is sending current in here, it is creating a ground loop. I often can't do much about that. Ground loop isolators solve that issue. So yeah, that's it. That's all we'll talk about ground loop isolators. Pick them up, put them all over the place, get 1/4 inch, get 3.5 inch. It's good stuff. Howdy, Matt. What's up, Circo? Welcome. Cool. Damn, the tanklet. The tanklet? Template. Sounds awesome. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. I think so too. So let's try let's try some more tunes with the template. Here's something. This is like a newer thing. I mean, I'm not too far along in this track, but let's use the template with the M8 here. This is an auto buildup. Cool. So there's another demo of it sounding dope. Like, I love this template. Let's grab another one. What is this? So this is something I started working on just yesterday. There's like nothing to it yet. Low pass filter, high pass filter. All right, let's leave this project. It's too short. All right. Whoa. So a lot of the effects that I have in the Octatrack, the performance template effects, they'll build up on their own. You want to time them with your window here. It's doing its own thing. Oh, this project isn't sending clock. There we go. Auto build up. There's also like noise sweeps and stuff in this template. All that just happening on its own. The music isn't doing that. My tracker is not doing that. That's the Octatrack. You'll always find a high pass filter on 9 no matter what part you go to. So to navigate this performance template that I made on the Octatrack, like first you have to have an Octatrack, right? Get yourself an M8, plug it in, navigate this. You press the part button, you choose these different parts. You can see on this magnet overlay what is going to happen in each part. So looking at this first part, it's a little hard to read because we had to fit all the text, you know, in a small space. But you look closely, you can see like, okay, this is going to reverse it. This is going to do the Daft Punk effect. This is going to do the LFO quarter note loop. This is going to do a high pass with reverb, stuff like that. Like, it's going to tell you what is happening on different parts. So to move to a different color, so we're in red, which is also called space. We want to move to build. Go to build, build. So all the effects are located in build. Press B. This is your dry wet of your effects. Hold the B scene down and select a new effect. Does the effect. And a lot of the effects do this automated stuff for you. There's a couple of effects that don't do that, where you manually have to use the crossfader to do it, but otherwise you can just slowly engage the effect, and when you reach the end, or you can just slam the crossfader and it will just do a modulation if you time it at the beginning of your loop. So there's different, all my newer template stuff that I designed for the Octatrack all uses, or has two different options, not all uses, but it has two different options. There's a 4-bar option and there is an 8-bar option. So right now we're using a 4-bar option, and I think that works really well with M8, but the 8-bar option works just as well. So we could leave this project and let's go over to the 8-bar version. Check this out. So this is this is the hybrid template. The hybrid template, what makes it hybrid is that you can sum 4 different devices into the Octatrack, but you also have 2 audio tracks on the Octatrack. So what we could do is it adds 2 more tracks to our M8 tracker. So we have 2 Octatrack tracks where we can sample synthesizers, chop it up on the Octatrack, and what you do is you run your Q output back into your M8. Or if you're only using just the M8, you just run the Q output physically, run the Q output with cables out of the Q output and into the C and D input. And it will route these 2 tracks into the Octatrack's input and process them through the effects bus that I created. And you'll get access to the 64 effects for your static tracks or flex tracks in your Octatrack. That's not something you can do without doing this process. The Octatrack cannot send audio from track to track except for via recording buffer, and there'll be a delay that way. If I tried to trick the Octatrack into doing that using recording buffers, it would sound really goofy and would also have issues with BPM detection and time stretch for anything over 160 or below 80, right? And then we have these, so it just won't work. So routing it out is the way to do it, and it works really, really well. So now we are in our 8-bar version of the template. Let me show you this. Function MIDI. We want to receive clock, receive transport. It doesn't matter if it's you have both receive and send checked. That's not going to be an issue. The only issue that's going to present for me right now is that I do have the Ticatact and Syntact connected to the Octatrack, and if I press play now, it'll start these machines. So essentially this will tell everything to play at the same time. So I actually do want to disable transport send and program change send. There we go. So let's check out some like 8-bar stuff. Here's an 8-bar build up. Let's do another 8-bar build up. It's the end of it. Now, the noise risers are not fixed to a certain loudness level. Like they're not fixed to a certain volume. If you notice that the noise riser, like the comb filter noise sweep is too loud for you, and you're like, oh, that effect sounds crazy because the noise sweep is too loud. What you do is you go to track 7 and you just turn your track level down. So like we could do this again. There we go. And then crossfade out of it. You can also do some really cool stuff here. So like we could use like a high pass or low pass filter, but trigger the beat repeat. I mean, you can go ham on that. It's a good way to fade out from a track. Cool way to end a show, right? Or just move on to a new song. This is having the beat repeat menu open, or keyboard layout open, which is function and the down arrows, and that's how you get to your delay control. So when the delay control is active for the hybrid template, which is the one that we're using right now for this live stream, you just hold down the 9 key and choose your different delay amount that you want to use, or delay timing that you want to adjust to. And that's it. And then you can choose a scene. I recommend using 9, 10, or 11 because these are the filter scenes, and then you can just filter right over the beat repeats, which is awesome sounding, I think. Let's go to another project. Here's something a little less drum and bass sounding, a little bit. It's just different. Gotta have it 7 o'clock. There we go. That's fun too. Let's see here. What else we got on here? No. There's something a little closer to like the techno vibe, but not so much. Very unfinished, unpolished work here. Nice build up. loud. Cool, right? So much fun. I'm just like trying out different projects right now. I haven't even tried these yet. What's this? Just gonna have a noise riser in it. I think you get the idea, right? I've been having like way too much fun playing with this. I also was playing with this, which I was going to talk about today, but I don't know. So this is the Chaos Pad, and this is really cool, and I'm currently working on a video for it. Sounds great. Like the effects in the Chaos Pad, they are off the chain, and it's a great little pairing for an M8 as well. Like, right, tiny, affordable, it's under $200. Like, sounds awesome, dynamic effects, build your own effects too, kind of like what I do with the Octatrack. A lot of great stuff with it. The only thing about it is that you can really only have like, you can have 4 effects on. It says effects 1, 2, 3, and 4, but like truthfully, when you push down on this, you engage all 4 effects. So you really only get to have 1 preset running at a time. So that part is like, I would take this and use just its low pass looper. Just the low pass looper, because the low pass looper is stellar. You can go from fast, it's like a classic beat repeat that you'd find in a good DJ mixer. The Octatrack's freeze delay is a little bit limited in terms of going, like, you can speed it up on a beat repeat. Let's just really quick. You see, like, I'm going down in time. I can't go up in time. That's something that the freeze delay can't do, albeit the freeze delay is one of the most powerful things inside of the Octatrack, and one of the most powerful delays I've seen anywhere. I think the closest delay to it that have experience with outside of a computer is Mimeophone by Make Noise. The Make Noise Mimeophone can do the same stuff that I'm able to do with my Octatrack freeze delay. You can do beat repeats. You can use it to make build-up effects. Like if I wanted, I can patch up my modular to do similar stuff that I can do with the Octatrack. It would take me forever, and it would be impermanent because every time I want to do a different patch, I have to undo that process. So not as effective and a bit more expensive, but that's the closest delay, and I want to draw that comparison because these delays are so good freeze delays. Delays that allow you to freeze a buffer are just incredibly powerful. And I don't know how many people have spent as much time as I have designing performance effects on hardware devices, but it's a really, really useful and powerful item to create build-ups or transitions, and then just classic beat repeats, of course. I love them very much. Let's, I'm going to dive back in with the chat a little bit here. Oh, and I have this espresso, which is getting cold. And I need it. I need it badly. Hi, Matthew. It's Harry. I'm in the car with 3 kids. What's up, Harry? Tell your kids I said hello. SSL6. I was wondering about what mixer you use. You know, I've talked about this before. I kind of wish I didn't buy the SSL6. It's $3,000 that I didn't need to spend, considering this is what I do so much. Like, I'm playing with these boxes, like I don't need it that much. If I was recording more like drums and guitars and vocals, like stuff that I used to record more classically, that was something I was way more experienced with prior to getting in electronic music. Recording live audio was the only thing I really understood in music production before. It was grab a guitar, sing, and do all that. SSL Big 6, so good for that. Just sounds amazing. Of course, it's not bad for this, but I don't need it. It's like an overkill thing. And I actually set up, just recently, I took my RME Fireface UCX1, not the 2, and I put it in this oak 4U little outboard console, and I put a patch bay in it, and I stuck it over here with my laptop, and that's where my modular is, and I'm building a second like video station there, and that's where the RME will be. But I'm already envious of the RME being out and running again, because the routing options in its mixer software console is just so simple. Routing things on the Big 6 or on an analog mixer is an absolute time suck and frustrating because things aren't obvious. You can't save snapshots, stuff like that. It's not ideal for somebody who's doing the kind of stuff that I'm doing. I teach private lessons all the time. That's something, so I have to have a snapshot of audio that's like my camera perspective, a microphone, Fireface, and the software in the RME mixer software is just so good for switching between different concepts. Just not so great with the hardware. Hello, puppets. What's up, Jordan? You recently got a Syntact and you've been learning tons with my vids. Oh, thank you. I'm glad. That's why I make them. Trying to be useful any way I can. Headless is a great way in. Yeah, headless is a great way in, for sure. Also, you could probably snag them, maybe a Mark 1 at some point, if it comes to the M8, that is. Let's see, what else we got here? Used to do that with Stutter Edit. Yeah, on your computer, I take it. Did you know that the Sega Mega Drive sound chip has higher frequency output than a standard audio CD? What do you mean? Do you mean it's outputting in 48 instead of 44? Because CDs are 44/16. You're saying a Sega is at 48? That's what I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. It's an interesting thing to think about, though. I wouldn't imagine that'd be the case. 56? What? Why 56? That's a interesting number. I don't see 56 often. It's not even an option in my DAW, is it? That's cool to know. But the DAC is only 9-bit. Okay, well, we got our bottleneck somewhere. Yeah, it's for technical reasons. Okay, yeah. Reasons over my head, for sure. Way over my head. All right, let's go back over here. So I'm going to load up the project that I'm working on 2 main projects, and I played them already for you, but we're going to listen to them again. So the 2 main projects is, this one's called Big Fire, and I'm actually kind of stuck. Now that we've done using the Octatrack with the hybrid template overview demonstration for 45 minutes, I think we can move on to just messing around with them together. And if you have any questions, just hit me with questions and I'll do my best to answer them. But right now we're looking at one of my... I intend to play at least 2 M8 Tracker songs at my next 3 shows. That's what I plan to do. And hopefully by the time the last 2 shows happen, I'll have even more songs prepared. This is one of the songs that I intend to play live. Coming up to the area that I'm stuck on. The double kicks in there. Okay. This is where I'm stuck. And let me talk to you about why I'm stuck and how I'm stuck. So they're like, the music is, I don't know, it reminds me a lot of the kind of stuff that I write on my Elektron boxes, but ultimately quite a bit different. And that's because the workflow here, well, the Tic Tac 2 is actually really caught up to what the M8 can do in terms of like editing and adjusting in your workflow. And I'm really been loving that. And it has made me question whether I keep my Syntakt in my sets. The Syntakt is such an integral part of my live sets right now that it'd be hard to remove it without designing completely new live sets. And also, I don't know if I want to. You know what I mean? I don't know. But so what I want to talk about with me being stuck here is the track starts off, and this is why I mentioned that it's similar to what I write in Elektron. It starts off with this, like, I don't know, this, like, mildly jazzy drum progression. Like, I'm trying to keep you guessing what's going to happen next. I don't know if you heard that. It goes, listen to this right here. Oh, we gotta get to it right here. That is me. That, not only is that me singing, that's me singing into the M8 Mark II. Just held it up like this, and I just went and sang into the unit. And then I cropped it and put it into my track. Yeah, I put some, like an LFO on it and some filtering and stuff, but I just love that I was able to do that. It adds a weird sadness. Is it breakbeat chopped up? Just like a little accent here. Now this is the M8 synth engine. It's the hypersynth, just using a single sawtooth wave and the swarm and a lot of width. And this is a resample. This whole, somebody said in chat, they're like, the resampled glory, Gibrald said. And yes, and that's a huge part of like my workflow like on the Dig Attack now that it has stereo resampling. Like it's a part of my workflow in the Dig Attack, but it's always been a part of my tracker workflow. And always been a part of my Octatrack workflow is to write something using like onboard sounds if possible. M8 has synthesizers on board to write some stuff using the onboard sounds. And then after you have a nice pattern, resample it. The M8 has a really great way of doing that. It can, you just can select a row and then triple press edit, and it will resample that row to a single instrument at unity gain. So as soon as you throw down an instrument or the instrument that it sets it to, you could just start chopping it up. And that's what I did. So I chopped up, or I chopped up this part, and that's what this is. And then we have this lovely build-up. So this is cool. I might do a video tutorial on this, but I can show it to you right now. I think that has nice energy. And this is one of the... This brings me to one point before we get to why I'm stuck on this track. Another point about using the M8 and an external device is, like when you're working with M8, there's a couple different workflows that you can do. If you hold shift and left, you go into this live mode. And in live mode, like it lets you like just play a single pattern and queue up patterns like you would, it's almost like unmuting patterns. And they'll play at the beginning of the next 8 bars if that's how long it is. I write in 8 bars, so they'll play now. And you can mix and match different patterns that you're playing, different phrases with each other, and like, you can do some really cool stuff with that. You can have a drum beat from later in the song play earlier in the song, or a synth part that played earlier played later on top of something else. Like you can get really creative with that, but usually you want to kind of create islands, which would be like if we put a pattern here and a pattern here like this. These are little islands, and you can live play with islands really easily because things will loop. Like if we had a row here and I move this row down here, then this pattern will just loop here, right? And if I make a bunch of these pattern loops like this, I can queue up these rows like I would on Elektron, and that's when using the performance mixer stuff with the Octatrack gets really powerful, because then I can queue up a transition to the next row, and I can use all the different effects, 64 different effects, resampling, all that kind of stuff to transition between those rows. That's one way of using the M8 and the Octatrack performance templates. But another way, the way the M8 really wants you to use it, and I think that most people that are writing like really exciting songs on the M8, is that you kind of like, you build in transitions into your music. Kind of like what I was doing here with this build-up. Starts right here. This is the noise sweep rising. It rises over 4 bars. And then it cuts right there. Then there's also a drum fill build up that happens here. Or is it here? Yeah. With the combo of the noise sweep and that drum fill, like, and then I, have a filtered version of the resample playing at the same time, that's its own performance effect. In those moments, when you write music like that, that's when having an external performance mixer doesn't help you as much. That's when you're like, maybe I should just let that play out and use the performance effects during the larger segments of the music where you don't have that kind of stuff. But also, I think it just works better with people who are writing music in islands, like writing music similarly to an Elektron workflow. So if you're going to be writing like classic M8 stuff where it's just playing a song, this is like arranger mode on the Octatrack or Digitact or Syntact, Ditone, Analog Rhythm, whatever. This is like arranger mode, which you can just emphasize parts of your music live. Like, this is doing the same thing that I'm doing on the M8 right now. So I just wanted to point that out. The best workflow when you're combining these two together, I think if you're going to use the performance template and the M8, is to kind of design design a track and then create islands out of your track so that those segments loop, and then you use the Octatrack to bounce between segments. And then you can have so much fun trying different effects and different ideas of ways to move between your different patterns. Sorry if I got like jumbled there for a second. I was trying to find a way to articulate exactly what I mean by this, and it's, you know, I can get lost thinking so many thoughts at the same time. Okay, so here's the part where I'm stuck in this track. We go from this whole like fully programmed synthesized track. Like every sound in here is using either single drum shots, just one-shot drum shots, one-shot samples on my drum tracks, and also the synth engines in the M8. And then once we get past that this section right here, rows 0 through 5, or 0 through 4, starting from row 5 down, it's all resample plus synthesis. And I really love it. The energy change is intense. But the problem is that once I get here, I get through this, like, this is like obviously like the most fulfilling part of the song. And we go down. I think if I add some vocals, that'll really help this out. I thought about putting like a lead line in right here. But I also kind of like it without a lead. And then we go back into this another high energy part, but I don't even know what to call it. It's more like a verse, and the other part was more like a chorus. But the question is where to go from here. Like I've built, like we start with this like jazzy, slower part. And we're just building up, and we finally get to this high energy part. And then now what? Like, where do I go? Every time I've erased so much of the work that I've done on here trying to figure out what I want to do next. Do I want to just add more to this and just make it bigger, or just continue to play with the resamples? I thought about like making it a little bit more choppy Aphex Twin kind of sounds, where like maybe we drop into like an ambient thing and then like we go into this more breakbeat style. I honestly drop it completely, make it like super minimal. That's not a bad idea, Kinga. You're hearing halftime. I thought about that too, and doing it halftime on the M8 is great. Let me see. Let's go into my groove pool. So to do halftime on the M8, let's go to like groove 01, and we can throw down a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 0C, 0C. This should be a halftime groove, which we have in groove 01. So now if I want, we could, let's just hear how this sounds in halftime. Let's just copy this and put it here, and then let's just deep clone all of this so we don't mess with anything. And now we could put in, we could put groove 01 in here. All right, let's just put it across everything. Just at least for this row. Okay, everything has it. That's actually sick. That's really sick. Wait. Where's my groove? What happened to, What happened to my groove 01s? How'd they all get deleted like that? Alternatively to, and we can like throw in, for every phrase that has a groove 01 in it, double time, just jumbling my senses. I'm moving too quick, too much espresso for me. For every phrase that has a groove 01 tick in it, which is, or a groove 01 that has the halftime tick rate in it, it's going to double the length of our pattern, right? So every single phrase is actually 2 phrases long compared to the other ones. So this is a 16 bar loop now because of the halftime. Which is cool, but every time, we just have to keep that in mind. And if you want to integrate halftime phrasing into your music, like for every one phrase that you do halftime, you have to do 2 regular time phrases to have it catch up. Or 2 double time phrases, or remove a phrase. It's confusing, right? I do think like a big lead right here, like a big screaming lead. What if we took one of these? Yeah, what if we took this phrase? And we put that groove 01 in here. That's crazy. Good call in the halftime. This is way fun sounding. Let's link it. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. We're gonna have to build a transition into this. It actually should transition right into it. We'll just have to put a crash symbol in. What happened there? Oh, ho, ho, ho. All right, let's hear it from here. Here we go, here we go. Where's my crash symbol? Is it here? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. What did I do? Why is that the same on every phrase? I thought I duplicated that. Cloned F4 to F4? What is that, a bug? Get out of here. But we gotta have it return to the correct tick rate. That part right here, this... Oh, it's this middle part, I think. That weird time is so cool. What was the instrument I just changed it to? 2D. We can see what it sounds like without... Let me save this, because I think this is pretty cool. See what it sounds like without these. This part. Just take these out real quick. Oh, no, 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 no. It's this sound that I wanted to take out. All right, let's hear it from this section on and see how it goes. One of these phrases has the groove tick in it. Must be here. There it is. That was cool. Fun. Thanks for the tips during the production. That was a good idea. Halftime. I did have a similar idea of messing with the time, but I didn't. I should have just jumped straight over to adjusting the groove like that. That was really useful. Cool. Well, my presentation on using the M8 with the performance template. This is the hybrid performance template. You can find this at patreon.com/EZBOT. I also do private lessons through the Patreon or private lessons through EZBOT.live. So if you want to meet up with me, learn how to use the M8, learn how to use the Octatrack, Digitact, Digatone, Syntact, Analog, any of the Elektron stuff, I'm here to help. This is what I do all the time. It's all I do, honestly. So if you're interested in getting some private lessons from me, I am available. If you want to get the templates for the Octatrack, again, that's Patreon or coffee.com, where you can buy the templates. You can also find it at modbang.com if you'd like. If you want to get your hands on any of these cables or anything like that, you can visit modbang.com. To support this channel, just give the video a like or leave a nice comment, and or subscribe to this YouTube channel. That'd be really useful. Again, hybrid performance template 3.1.2, I believe, is available, and there shouldn't be any bugs in it that I'm aware of. And you can work with your M8 or Polyend tracker and have a great time. I think that's going to be it from me. I really wanted to show that off today and do a little bit of music production, which we ended up doing, and I think that's quite enough. And try and keep this shorter than 2 hours. I usually do 2-hour streams. They go on forever. So thank you everybody for hanging out, and I will hopefully see you this Friday for another stream. We may be looking at something called the Shield Tracker, which is a tracker that works on the Steam Deck. So very cool. I'm excited to show that off with the developer. My name is Matthew, aka EZBOT. I'll see y'all next time.